the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steve Beardsley,
Present.
Mike Bright,
Present.
Grant Fuller,
Present.
Joe Palmer,
Present.
Megan Sheets, Clarence Gordon,
Present.
Eric Woods.
Present.
Okay, we have the minutes from the June 12, 2023 regular meeting.
Yes, I heard
Okay,
Councilman Palmer as the second.
okay, roll call please.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Grant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Megan Sheets, Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes passed. Were there any public comments? Nothing? Okay. I'm gonna recess the, council meeting at 7:02, and open the public hearing on ordinance number 23-09. And Carol, do you wanna give us a little information on that?
Yes, this is an ordinance requesting additional appropriation for 3 items from rainy day and also from the clerk's perpetuation fund. The rainy day items are the paving on 4th Street, water repair at the park, and utility connections at the new police station. And the clerk's perpetuation request is for records update and organization in the clerk treasurer's office.
Carol, which part on the water repair?
It was at the TPA park to the main building, is that correct?
It was a little bit everywhere.
Okay,
All the buildings out there.
Is there any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll close the public hearing at 7:04 and reopen the common council. Next on the agenda is ordinance number 23-09. This is on the second reading, which now is our final reading.
Make a motion, we pass 23-09, second, final reading. I'll second.
So any questions? Okay, roll call please, Carol.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Grant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Megan Sheets, Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance number 23-09 passes on the second reading and final reading. Next, we have ordinance number 23-10, and this is also on the second reading. Anybody have any questions or accept a motion?
I'll make a motion we pass 23-10 on second reading.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Grant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance number 23-10 passes on second and final reading. I guess we didn't mention, this is an ordinance amending ordinance 17-08, and it's an ordinance regarding the Violations Bureau and the noxious weeds. Okay, now Carol, you may have to help me on this one. So next we have resolution 23-09, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
This is a resolution requesting to change the name of a fund that is used, it is monies that are deposited in there from court fees relating to ordinance violations. And previously, that code enforcement department was under the building inspector's office, the city engineer's office as it was previously called. That is now part of the police department, so we wanted to rename that fund so that the monies can follow the department that it belongs to. And it's also addressed in that ordinance that just passed, but we need to rename the fund to correlate with that.
Right, so the ordinance changed the, where the money was going to be deposited to what department, and then now it's just changing the name.
I'll make a motion, pass 23-09 as written.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Grant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 23-09 passes. Next, we have resolution 23-10. And that's a declaratory resolution designating an economic revitalization area in an eligible vacant building. Bill, do you wanna?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Phil Triplett. I'm representing Mazvez Realty LLC. Samuel Neary is here on behalf of Mazvez. He's the owner of the company. Mazvez has purchased the old Keiko building, the Hermeson manufacturing plant, and is planning a renovation and to put a new manufacturing facility in there. Mazvez produces floor tiling, commercial and residential, but the type of floor tiling you see at a house, like a hardwood laminate tile. It's all synthetically produced, but they are looking to transform the building into a new manufacturing facility. Looking at about a little over $500,000 of renovation improvement to the building, and then anticipated $1.75 million worth of equipment being purchased. Mazvez anticipates 31 additional jobs to be created. We are aware that the taxes are currently delinquent. As we're going through this process, we figured out that they're behind. There was an issue when the property was purchased about how it would be prorated. So we are working through that and anticipate having that resolved shortly to bring the taxes current. But the building was purchased back in 2021. So as part of this, we would be asking for the waiver that this wasn't done at the time of purchase, that it could be retrospective back to when it was purchased. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. The tax abatement process calls for today a preliminary resolution to be adopted designating the area an economic revitalization area. And then we publish notice and have a second hearing at your next hearing for that to be confirmed once everyone's had a chance to research it and the public's had a chance to know it. So I'm happy to answer any questions you've got. Mr. Neary is also present if you have questions for him. Otherwise, I would ask that you pass the resolution.
What kind of pay rate will there be on these jobs?
The anticipated salaries we've got are a total of $1,156,560 over 31 jobs. I did the math a while back. I think that came out to like 30,000. Yeah, so somewhere around 30,000 average for the jobs.
Those people,
So we have,
buildings on both sides of Warner Street.
That's correct. So there's a lot of tax parcel numbers in there because of the way that's split, but it's the two buildings on both sides of the street.
Sure.
anybody have any questions or?
Mayor, I'll speak for the finance committee. We did meet with Mr. Triplett and his client, as asked by the council for the finance committee to do in these situations, and heard the story, understand that the building has been vacant for a while. The area can be definitely considered blighted, considering the size of the building being vacant for that long, so we thought that qualified, and then did a little bit of math regarding past abatements, trying to find similar situations that we've had in the past, and did give Mr. Triplett the recommendation that we would go up to a 75% average abatement over 5 years on both real estate and personal property, as far as making a recommendation to the council office. So anything to add?
Yes, and I know the intent is to make that a very viable business and opportunity. There's been some investments so far with regard to asphalting the parking lot. And as we learned in our meeting, it's going to be requiring a roof soon, which was going to be costing around $1 million as well. So they're anxious to be part of the community, part of the business community. You may have seen in the past, there's been, in years prior, you've seen them recirculate for renewal, if you will, 10-year abatement schedules. And we felt that, the 5-year this time, we're kind of about pumping brakes on abatement a little bit and then really reviewing each one thoroughly and carefully. And so we felt that the 75% of 5-year was a fair compromise.
Steve, did you have anything to add to that from the finance committee?
Could we, or should we put a stipulation on this resolution in reference to making sure that the taxes are paid up to date upon the passage? I mean, not the bond, but
Sure. I'm happy to make that change if you'd like. I don't think it's really necessary because this is simply a declaratory resolution and a confirming resolution will come later. So if at the next meeting the taxes weren't paid, then you would have complete authority to reject anything that was done today. Happy to make that change if council would like.
that's up to the council. That's just my talk.
You expect them to be paid by the next meeting?
They were going to be paid last Friday, but that's when we discovered the error with the proration when the property was purchased. So we're working with the title company right now to figure out what happens after closing, and figure out what the situation is given there. But yes, the anticipation would be that it would be paid prior to the next meeting.
I really wouldn't see a need to rewrite it if, they can just go back through it.
There wouldn't be a substantial change, so whatever the council's pleasure.
We've got another step of the confirmatory, so I think it
Yeah, I'm good. I was just throwing it out there.
So we need just
A motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23-10, first reading.
Yeah, it's just a resolution.
Oh, yeah.
Just one.
One time, yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Mike Wright,
Aye.
Grant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Clarence Gordon,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next we have old business then. Do you have anything under old business?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, new business. Ken, are you ready? Service work.
TV's come back on.
Oh, no. You have to out-reason them a little bit to get it. perfect work.
Isn't that they might,
They may be still on. They just,
I mean, yeah.
heard something here.
Shows this one's still on.
Okay. This will be, it's not very long. It's a kind of an update with the completion of the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant. Got some photos of some before and after pictures there that was done. And so wastewater treatment plant was a 26.175 million expansion. It took the plant from 4.5 million gallon per day to 9 million gallon per day. In June of 2023, the plant averaged 2,654,000 million gallon per day. Obviously, June was very dry, so we had very little storm water. The wastewater treatment plant is, let's say, 99.9% completed out there. It's SCADA controlled, and it is under 24 hours, 7-day-a-week surveillance there. And so this photo right here is before the plant took on its new look. There's the plant out there now. As you can see, the drying off to the left side there is the
drying building, the two, what do they call it, Todd?
Clarifiers, the circles.
Yeah, the circle clarifiers over here on this end. And then there's a new building just to the north there that it takes after it gets dried and it spins it. I don't know how fast it spins it. And then it dumps it in a dump truck, and then we take it out to the drying bed, and then it gets put on the fields. So it's a lot more efficient than the older way of putting it out in the drying beds and everything else. There's the SCADA from in that plant. PJ and Brian and those guys totally understand that. I don't, that one out there, this is, obviously I think green means something's running out there. This is the surveillance cameras that are at the wastewater treatment plant. We have them out there, and then they're at the water, and they're on all the substations that we have. So we're getting all that stuff updated, and that is a screen from, I think, Todd's office.
Yes.
And all of them are on the wall in there. And you can go in there and you can see what they are. They're recorded. Is the lagoons up yet, Todd?
3 of them are. The other 4 will be up this week.
Okay. And so we're in the process of doing them on the lagoons, and we'll be getting the lagoons under 24-hour surveillance out there. There's cameras. We're having a lot of trouble with trash being dumped and stuff like that out there. And so there's one as the vehicle enters the gate to get to the plates, and then Mr. Shoemaker can take care of them, or whoever controls that out there. So. Okay, the water treatment plant. It was a 13.5 million expansion. It took the plant from 6 million gallon per day to 9 million gallon per day. In June of 2023, for the month, we averaged 3,966,667 million gallons per day. That expansion is approximately 80% complete. It's all SCADA controlled. It's under surveillance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week out there. There's the aerial photo. I want to thank the surveyor's office. They got the drone pictures for us on these here. The buildings down there at the bottom, or they look like buildings, those are detention tanks. The one to the right, that was added in this expansion. And then the building right in front of it with the 2 tanks, that was added. And then the 2 white, you see the 4 blue filters, and then the 2 white ones, they were added to take it up. They will be painted blue, I think, someday.
No, they're all going to be tan.
Tan?
They're all getting, the blue ones are going to be repainted.
Okay. And so okay, this in here, this is the SCADA system from out at the water treatment plant. As you can see, this is kind of a home page. It has different things on it. It has the detention tanks, it's got the high-rise, the tower tanks. This one here is this is all of the water towers. The feed in them, that determines the pressure and how much they put in them. They're all controlled automatically. This one here, it's just the high service pumps control. It tells there's
3 of them on there. This one right here, you can see the 3 pumps that are on. The first one down there is pumping 916,000 gallon a minute. The other one's 867, and then 1,033 gallons per minute. So there's 3 pumps. When Chris took this picture of what's going on out there, as you can see in the positions on the right-hand side, they rotate around and then they'll kick on, you know, as you can see, 24, 23, 19, 20, and they rotate it, which one comes on. And so then, you know, like say today, if 19 come on, it's going to be 4 or 5 more days unless there's a tremendous amount of water usage. And how the pumps are all controlled through the SCADA. The electric department. The west side substation is approximately 70% complete. We say west side, that's Zachary sub. That's the industrial park substation out there. Completion for that is expected by the end of September. I believe Wednesday of this week, they're putting one of them online out there.
One's online and the other one's supposed to be powered up.
And so they're slowly going online out there with that new substation. Our June usage was 30,629,124 kilowatts. We had an input bill of $2,538,065 in the month of June. Then the electric is not totally all on SCADA. Once the west side sub gets done, it will be up. They've got what we call the Fairgrounds sub, and then the Burlington sub, which is behind the plant. Substations are on 24-hour, 7 days a week surveillance. Tree Corps is continuing to clean up brush in the power lines throughout the city and what we call hot spots in the county, and getting them. We spend $250,000 a year with Tree Corps to go around and clean this stuff up, and I think we're at about 211 right now.
Yes.
So they're kind of winding down going into the summer here. There's the SCADA for the electric. Clarence, you know more what a lot of this stuff means than I do with it, but it's just overview of it. There's the Burlington substation. What it's doing. Okay, just on the utility service board, our employee count is down 10 since 2017. And that goes back to remote read meters. Electric, we are 280 meters from being 100% remote read throughout 9,800 meters.
Correct.
That we have. We're 280 meters from being 100%. Water is about 40% complete in the city. It is a little slower process because there has to be more work done at it's not just pull in and pull out the meter and get it all changed. There's a little more work that has to be done in the water pits to get them all on remote read, but we're about 40% complete. Our USB's punch list, we're working with Burgess and Nyepel on the new force main from 200 West lift station to the treatment plant. That was something that was supposed to go in the last expansion, had to be kind of put on the back burner to get the plant big enough to take on extra capacity from the industrial park and 65. But this force main has to happen before much growth goes out there. And so that we have seen probably early stage prints of 7 or 8 different prints that are route from 200 West over to the treatment plant. It's going to be very tricky to get it there, but that's our, once these 2 plants get finalized, and, you know, we're working with Burgess and Michael to get it there. We're going to performance-based pay raises, will be implemented in 2024. We're working on pole agreements with FiberHawk, AT&T, Comcast, and others that have things hanging on the poles around town. Right now, we're $1
Some cases were less than that.
for a contact on the poles. We're entering an agreement with FiberHawk for $5 for every pole for the south and the east part of the county, out near Kirkland, Pickard, and that area there. FiberHawk's got a grant, and they started, I believe, today. And they're putting a substation out here on Armstrong Road, and they're gonna tie back around in the rural area and start supplying to the rural area. By the end of 2025, they have to have 1,200 homes serviced with high-speed internet in the grant that they got. This is a 6-month, I had a lot of numbers, but the numbers I look at is on the right-hand side. It's our, through June 28th. It's our expected revenue and our actual for 2023 actual and our expenses. As you can see there, fiber, our revenues, anything above 50% is good on revenue, and anything above 50% in expenses is bad. And so we're, fiber, we know we're there, we're over, and we know why we're over, because we took on the East Meadows addition, and we ran fiber throughout East Meadows out there. And so now all those homeowners out there have the option to hook on Frankfort Utilities fiber out there. And so that was a construction project that we put into the fiber budget. Our utility service board one, we didn't have, our expenses at about 40.85%. Our big one on that's our insurance. Right now it is about 43%. But we don't really get our June claims in until middle of July, I think, is when that comes, and some of them come through their weekly and everything else. But we are down, on that. But hopefully it stays down there. Overall, the utilities, our revenue is 50.08%, which is right on where we had budgeted. Our expense totals were at 42.59. We have the same thing with our large IMPA bill. These numbers here have 6 IMPA bills in them, so it carried back to December's of last year to get 6 of them in there to get us on a 6-month total with it. So we're starting on budgets now, trying to decide what the pay raises are going to be. They're not going to be 10%. I hope you guys go that route, and we may have to try to follow suit or something, but, we're, I believe the county's said 6% or something like that's what I read, but, who knows, with it. But that's a quick nutshell of what's going on in the utilities for the first 6 months. If any of you want to go through and tour any of the plants and see the stuff in person, get a hold of Todd or I, or Mike, you know, and they can arrange it, that the superintendents are out there. You know, I want to thank Chris Hensley, PJ Whitaker, Todd, for getting some information together and getting some photos of the stuff out there, but it's, you know, that's what the rate increases went to, were those last two, water and wastewater's expansion out there. And so, like I said, that's all I have. Is there any questions?
The expansion that you're speaking of, what is that preparing us for? Is it additional residential growth? Is it factoring in possible industry? Is it, you're being forward thinking, and what is it that we're preparing ourselves to be able to handle?
Well, you know, residential is, you know, we can take on quite a bit of residential. The ones that get you are your, the industrial park are gonna be your food processors. They're tremendous water users, and they send back a tremendous amount of influence back to the treatment plant. And so, you know, we could get one in the industrial park that would eat up our extra capacity very quickly. And so we're just trying to,
Stay ahead
you
of
know,
the game.
trying to stay ahead of the game so that, you know, the houses, you know, probably 4 years ago, I think IDEM, before the wastewater treatment plant expansion, IDEM put us on hold as far as residential because the treatment plant was pushing capacity. And so, you know, that's why, you know, it took that. So, you know, we're, whatever comes, you know, we're set. We've got to get this force main across town. That's going to be a big one. I am working with IEDC to try to help cover the cost. You know, I think a number that we're probably looking at, unless Todd knows different, I'm going to say we're probably going to be talking between $5 and $6 million to get a force main through town and back out to the plant. The 200 West lift station was redone 10 years ago.
Yes.
10 years ago, and has 3 pumps in it. You know, 2 of them run pretty much so all the time. You know, IEDC can put all this money down in Boone County for the Lilly project and everything else. And, you know, that's economic development, they want to call it. And so, you know, and the talks have been good with them. It's just, we got to have a number. And so what would you say, 3 months, we'll have a number? A pretty solid.
It may not even take that long, yeah. Yeah, I would say 2 to 3 months, yes.
Because we've been working with them. Todd and PJ's met with them. You know, water, we would have to take an 18-inch line from the treatment plant over to State Road 28 to pick up and add some extra capacity, a tremendous amount of extra capacity, which is minor compared to what has just got done. And so, you know, it'll be there. We've got to get this stuff. And so then when industry start coming, we're ready to take it. So there's so many different plans to get from that side of town to the treatment plant. Any other questions?
Kent, just to give us a perspective of water consumption, Frito-Lay is probably our biggest water consumption.
Yeah.
By far.
Mhm.
Do you know about what percentage of our water being used by Frito-Lay per day?
Frito-Lay's under contract for $2 million.
1 million, actually, and they're pumping about 1.45 million. So they're about 40 to 45% of our consumption is Frito-Lay.
I knew it was really hard. So one factory uses that much water. So another Frito-Lay would use up all of our expansion almost.
If Frito-Lay would come to us tomorrow and say, we want to shut our treatment plant down and take it to you guys, we would have a problem. I mean, we could take it,
Slowly.
but this, 9 million gallon a day that we're at would be, we would be back into the 70-80% capacity of it, and then that's when IBM comes after us and starts to turn around and say, you need to start,
Start expanding again.
start going to the drawing board and getting to it and anything else. The next thing is gonna have to, we're about maxed out that direction. I mean, there can be some other things done, but the next major hurdle is probably gonna be looking at putting a wastewater treatment plant on the west side, depending on what happens out there. That's gonna be, it's not gonna be my problem. Probably not gonna be Todd's, probably none of you guys sitting in here would be on here, but, I'm saying 20 years from now, that's, probably what's gonna have to happen. I mean, that's all speculation. Any other questions? Feel free to contact us. Like I say, if any of you want to go out there, take any of them, feel free.
We appreciate, I'm sure the rest of you appreciate all your hard work. And it's obvious that you stay pretty busy, and we appreciate what you do out there.
Well, we got good people. We got good superintendents. We got excellent general manager that keeps it going, and so it's, our budget's 55 million for everything, and so, of course, we keep, some of them don't like us very well when budget season comes around. It's, we keep our finger on it, because we were in different situations one time. So, thank you.
Thank you again, appreciate it. Okay, next we have the CF1 for Goodwill Industries. Yep, so if you'd like to.
Sure. So Goodwill Industries had an SB1 that was approved for tax abatement. That was done during Les's tenure as the city attorney. He had told them that they needed to take over the future stuff from the CF1. They didn't really understand that, so he helped walk them through what they needed to do. He also talked to the county to ensure that this was all right, even though it wasn't done quite as timely as it should have been. The county said that it was fine if you all wanted to approve that CF1, they would allow the tax abatement as agreed. And then, of course, looking to next year, we are hoping that they will be able to kind of pick up the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve the CF1.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please. Carol?
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Grant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Megan Sheets, Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Okay, next on the agenda, we've had a request from the Boys and Girls Club. They actually sent this to myself and council members. Right now, we don't have any way set up to have like not-for-profits. Sometimes we'll do like a promotion of business, maybe a sponsorship type thing, but this is beyond that. So I don't know if the council's interested or we'd like this handled.
Mayor, I think I know through ARPA monies, you had a discretionary income, if you will, of 50,000, and you have dispersed that, so that's no longer available. And I think we might have been able to be the recipient to some of
I was thinking that they did get
yes,
some
for
of
further
that, yes.
programming. And while this is a fair ask, I would venture to say it's not within our, it's not within our budget to be able to pursue at this level. And I think there might be other avenues for outreach on my part, other than sitting for this, but I venture to say it's not going to fit within our budget parameters at this time.
I know a few years ago, the council had set up a appropriation for that purpose, but it's not set up for this year, so.
Correct. We haven't had it for a few years
Yeah,
back, yes.
3 years, so.
So we don't really need to, if we're not gonna do anything, we really don't need to make any kind of move.
I don't think so.
Because it sounds like it's your recommendation and the finance committee's recommendation that we don't award that money right now.
Yeah, just for clarification, Mike, I was speaking personally, not as far as the finance.
So if we did do this, we would probably have to do an additional appropriation out of some fund.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do that.
Would it be fair to have the finance committee maybe look and see if there's a place somewhere or not? That for a board?
I personally think it's a budgetary matter. Well, it's important to have come to us in the budget, but as Megan said, we've been through this a couple times. We've had funds and we've pulled them away. And I think the conversation's come up a few times, is the council's job to pick winners here. I think an emergency basis is one thing. I hate to see them lose this opportunity, but I would agree. I think there's multiple other avenues they can go to and fall back on us for a 2024 budget stipend as an emergency situation. It doesn't speak to a date on this, does it?
This is just so the grants for 2023 and 2024. It says they've already secured part of that, so it'll just be that additional.
Does anybody know if the county gave part of that?
We have many worthwhile not-for-profits in our community, all do great work. I'm just a little concerned that if we start awarding based on who was first in the door to ask, then are we fairly considering all that would be equally worthy? And that gets to be difficult. As to Eric's, who do we determine who the winners are? It's difficult. And the city's not an endowment from which you can grant money. There's a big difference, so.
I've several times spoken to exactly that there's so many good not-for-profits in the community. And personally, Boys and Girls Club is in my heart and I love that organization, but I don't see us being the ones to pick the winners. My preference is if a not-for-profit is doing something that we see within the definition of the city's responsibilities. The perfect example is providing public transportation. I see that as something that is the obligation of a municipality, and helping with that is consistent with that. That's not just giving to a not-for-profit, but short of them justifying based on replacing something that we would or should be providing. I just have trouble approving it.
Like I said, we do some sponsorships, but it's usually like the $200 to $500 range. If they have a program, a certain program or something that they would give, the city would sponsor that, but not to that amount.
I would agree with Steve. My consensus as well.
Anybody else have anything?
I agree with Nathan, and they, for the budget hearing, apply, maybe for next year.
Is there any other new business? Okay, I'll take a motion.
So moved.